Hello and welcome aboard. Today we're going to be doing a review of the brand new Atlas Metra MP36 locomotives. Before I begin, I'd like to give the Historic Pullman Foundation a shout out for letting me use one of their historic structures to do this review. This is none other than the house project / coffee shop of the Historic Pullman Foundation. So come visit whenever you have the opportunity. And let me tell you, the best coffee in all of Chicagoland. Actually, not just Chicagoland, but the best coffee ever. Today I have a salted caramel cold brew. Best stuff ever. Seriously, I'm telling you, you gotta come down here and get some coffee one day. But anyways, without further ado, let's get started on this review. Salud. So in this release are 5 road numbers of Metra units. We got number 403, number 410, which you see right here, number 418, number 425, the Rock Island Heritage Unit, and soon to come, number 405, the Milwaukee Road Hiawatha Heritage Unit. Now, I pre-ordered all 5 of these locomotives, but I only have the 2 for now. I couldn't afford the 4 that were released at once, so I only got the 2 for now. And then I'm going to go back and get the other 2 later, and then when the Hiawatha one is released, I'm going to get that when it comes out. So, yeah, but I'm not gonna lie, I've been waiting over a decade for these locomotives. Now, I don't know if anybody is familiar with the True Line Trains units. I happen to have 2 of the True Line Trains Metra MP36s. So the Atlas ones are, for the most part, identical to the True Line Trains units. So far, they're pretty much identical when it comes to the good stuff. Can't speak for the bad stuff yet, but we'll have to wait and find out as time comes. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I love Atlas, but I hate to say it, this isn't their best work. But we'll get to that later on. In the meantime, let's check out some of the features of these locomotives. So, with in terms of the detail and everything, these are pretty much identical, just different liveries. Cab door even opens, which is pretty cool. It was a present on the True Line Trains units, and Atlas even brought that back. These are pretty much identical to the True Line Trains engines. Some differences, but they're mostly identical. I forgot to mention earlier in the video, I'm going to do a more in-depth review of these later on, and when I do so, I'm going to do a comparison between these and the True Line Trains units side by side. But yeah, overall, I think Atlas did a pretty decent job on these units. I mean, they're not perfect by any means, not as good as most of Atlas's other products, but considering that they reused old tooling, these are pretty decent. My one biggest complaint is the fact that some of the detail parts are kind of loose, especially like the exhaust fans on the roof and the HEP fans. On my Rock Island Heritage unit, I had to glue one of them back on because when I flipped the engine upside down, it came apart on me. So, yeah. Now, with the regular painted engines, my only thing is that the size of the logo is not prototypical to the rebuilt variants or the -3Cs. It's prototypical to the -3Ss, but not the 3Cs. But on the Rock Island and Hiawatha Heritage units, the logo is properly positioned and sized. So yeah, the Rock Island one here is, like I said, it's pretty much identical detail-wise, but it's still a really nice engine. My biggest complaint with the craftsmanship of the Rock Island Heritage unit is that on the side, turn it right now so you can see, and it was like this on all the units. I checked to make sure this wasn't an issue with my unit, but it's like this on all the units. the road number on both sides is printed too high up, which I'm going to have to knock off points significantly for that. Because we look at like the 410, looks more proper. But the Rock Island is printed too high up, so I'm going to have to knock off points for that. But otherwise, it was done pretty nicely. Like I said, I had an issue with the radiator fan, one of the radiator fans popping off, but otherwise it's a pretty decent engine. Yeah, so the Rock Island logo is done pretty nicely on these things, so yeah, I gotta give credit for that, because that's like the most important part of the engine is the Rock Island logo. One of them, I should say. But I saw the pre-production samples of these engines. We'll just say they were a little horrifying, not gonna lie, but for the most part Atlas redeemed themselves when they did the final product, so I shouldn't complain too much on that, but there's definitely room for improvement, that is for certain. But yeah, let's take a look at these things in action. So I went ahead and already put my custom sound file on these, but when I get my other units, I'm gonna wait till I do my in-depth review before I go ahead and do so. But yeah, so let's take a look at some things, specifically the lights. F0 is your headlight, 6 ditch lights, 5 gyro light and number boards. Now, one thing to note is that the gyro light and number boards are connected, which I tried to figure out if there was a way to separate the two, but there isn't. Now, what I did here was I just covered the number board lights with electrical tape and then programmed the gyro light to do its thing, which it's no big loss for me because number boards are kind of to begin with. But yeah, I bet you're thinking the exact same thing. My biggest complaint about the headlights, the color tone. Yes, they are too blue, too LED-ish. I mean, it's good that they're LEDs, but they shouldn't look like LEDs, considering that the prototype has incandescence. So, yeah, that's something I'm going to have to figure out for the future. But, why don't we take a listen to what I've done to it. Alright, let's see what I've done to this so far.
Rock Island, train number 319, scheduled to depart at 4:10 p.m. to Blue Island, Vermont Street, with intermediate stops at 35th Street, Lou Jones, Gresham, Brainerd, 91st Street, 95th Street, 99th Street, 103rd Street, 107th Street, 111th Street, 115th Street, 119th Street, 123rd Street, Prairie Street, and Blue Island, Vermont Street. Track number 14. Track number 16. Track number 14. Track number 16. Track number 16. Track number 16. Track number 14. Track number 16.
And that's the new Atlas Metra MP36 with some customization, of course. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said earlier, come visit the Historic Pullman Foundation if you haven't yet. I want to give them a huge shout out for letting me film this review in their house project / coffee shop. So yeah, everybody be safe and have a great day. Gracias por ver.